Why not? I run a hand-blown coal forge. Just trying to work out how to actually see the chat. There we go. Yeah, it is an addiction, Sam. Couldn't help myself. To be honest, I don't know what I'm making. It's been so long since I've forged, I thought I would have a tinker. Play with some new steel that Josh sent me. When I start hammering on the steel, things just come out of it. Yeah, I don't think I've got the energy for that. It's been 2 months since I've been in the forge, and I think if I was to try that at this point, unpracticed, I would dislocate my shoulder. As it is, I think I'm pushing it. I got my little, this glove that I made. That's, it looks ugly, but it stops me from getting blisters when my skin gets too soft. Because I haven't forged for long enough. Because I don't get to do it every day, the calluses don't really develop. Crank on my hand forge is it's quite a small throw, so I feel like I gotta be like this all the time. I need one with a nice heavily geared thing, you know, like Roy's got. Yeah, you're actually right about the anvils. This one, my original one, I mounted on a tree stump, but you know, I was going on the theory of, you know, hold the hammer like that, you know, what they tell you to do, and get it that height, and I cut it accordingly. But I actually find that most of the time when I'm working, I'm hunched doing this. So for this one, when I mounted this, I made it maybe 2 inches higher just to see if it makes a difference. Because you can always make an anvil and shorter, it's harder to make it taller. So this is my first time actually working with this anvil, because it's brand spanking new. So I'm testing it out, testing the theory, see if it makes a bit of a difference for me. And if not, I'll shorten it down and reassemble it and put it back to the original height. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm a bit enamored by your side blast forge. To be honest, this is like forge design number 4 for me, because I always make them out of sort of junk parts, and this sort of underblow with a nice small pot is fantastic for jewelry work. Where I started out, it's fantastic for jewelry work. And it never really gets up to like insane heats. But now that I've started doing knives, it's not adequate. It's just, you really have to work to get the heat going on it. And so I'm going to be building a side draft knife forge, kind of like you've done, Japanese style. And it should make a hell of a difference for me. I'm thinking of even building a ribbon burner that, well, ribbon blower, I guess, ribbon vent. Yeah, I'd say so. But I mean, if you're doing jewelry work and you tried to use a Japanese style forge, the risk of burning through it would be really high. I just don't have the space to have multiple forges at the moment. Like what you can see on camera is pretty much the room I've got for forging. might actually be worth, Sam, you linking in the comments for anybody that's interested to the live stream, if you've still got it up, where you go through do the forge tour and show your side draft forge so that any aspiring smiths can see what we're talking about. Yeah, I was using a electric air mattress inflator for a while. They are not designed to be run for extended periods, and I ended up burning through it. I like the hand crank though; it makes me feel a bit more connected to the fire. And it gives you a lot better control. I know you can put the vents, the flow vents on forges, but or venturis, but not venturis, tuyas, however you pronounce it. But when you are actually controlling the actual rotation of the crank, you can get really really good, solid control. Especially when you're using a fuel as unpredictable as charcoal. I'm just using lumped hardwood charcoal. You can get weird hot spots in it, and the different sized pieces mean that some areas of your forge are going to be hotter, some are going to be cooler. It's a weird process. To be honest though, I'm supposed to be here having fun on my first forging day in months. And frankly, I don't want to be drawing out 20mm stock, so I'm going to have some fun with something little, I think. I'm going to put away the giant Nordic Forge hammer and pull out just a little 800-gram cross peen. And we've got here a jar of horseshoe nails. Let's make some tiny hooks. Some Etsy stock. Etsy stock is always fun. Solid logs of... I haven't seen anyone selling solid logs of hardwood charcoal. That's pretty cool. Could make it myself, you know, I suppose. Alright, let's see how quickly I lose this in the forge. Bit too big a hammer for horseshoe nails. Let's get a little one. A little 1-pounder. Actually, that blower is oiled. It's just terrible Indian-made crap. Alright, so I've had to move my mank tank. That's what I call my water dip. And anyone who's watching can take that. That one's for free. And we're going to do a twist. Ah, come on, let's have a look. No, this isn't a gamer code blower. This is a it's made in India. It's an old one that I actually restored. It was can't remember how old. Quite old. They still make them, to be honest, to this day. But the one I got was all rusted out and horrible, and I took it apart and cleaned it all out and wire brushed it. It was quite a journey. Horseshoe nails don't need much heat. So they're very easy to work with, and you can quickly bump out stock that you can then sell very easily. Alright, so I don't know how well this is actually going to come up. Let's see if we can adjust the light here. See, I've got a little flattened out the head of the nail, put a little bit of a twist in it, and then we've curled over the end, preparing to make that into a hook, because if you're doing a wall hook, you don't want the spike to be exposed. I could blunten the spike, but I'd be drawing it out to tip anyway, so. That's about all it takes to get one of these puppies hot enough to actually bend. Give it a little brusharoo, give it a dunk in the mank tank. And you got yourself a nice little wall hook. A little twist in it, a little curl on the end. Nice and hand forged. All you gotta do is punch a hole and it's good to sell. If you don't already follow Roy at Christ-Centered Ironworks, he has a fantastic video on building a jig and mass producing these. But to be honest, if you're feeling more crafty and less businessy, like you're just doing it for a hobby rather than trying to make money off it, it's really good to just do it by hand because it gives you a bit of practice with the shaping of the steel. Hey Nope, how's it going? Excuse me when I look like I'm trying to finger bang the screen, trying to get this comments to come up. Oh, there you go. So we're just having fun in the forge. Nope, we're not really doing any specific projects, just playing around. So just finished making this little wall hook out of a horseshoe nail. Start out like this, turn it into this, just for a bit of fun, because why not? It's been a while. I'm going to make up a few of these, maybe make a set, put it on Etsy. See how we go. Simple as that. You can flatten them out. I don't know if you can see that at all. Yeah, Sam and the results he got from it, including an awesome award. Being totally honest with you, heating horseshoe nails in a forge at all is massive overkill. You can actually do all of this with them perfectly cold. Because they're just, you know, mild steel and very thin. But if you want to have full control over the shape that you get and all that, then definitely want to have a little bit of heat in there, just a little. And we've got a hot forge, so why not? Into the bank tank. And we got another one. Then there were two. I hope Sam swings a hammer today. It is humid as hell today, which reminds me I should hydrate. Yeah, for anybody wondering why, you know, what today's about, it's sort of a got really, really hot here, too hot to safely forge without risk of heat stroke or something like that. But then, you know, unforeseen circumstances stopped me from forging for the longest time. And still will, really. I won't be doing much of it, but I, you know, been missing it so much because it is my passion. So today's just sort of having fun. Light the forge, get some steel, hammer on it, see what comes out. No plans, no designs, just good old-fashioned fun. I am enjoying these little horseshoe hooks though. I might make a set of 5, throw it on Etsy, see what happens. Yeah, their hair pretty cute. Me too. I hope they sell because, you know, you can get. Oh yeah, the bin chicken was there. You can get horseshoe nails bulk. Like I got 100 for $13, and to be honest, I think I got ripped off. They're that cheap. But you know, to turn it from something, you know, to a farrier, it's not junk, but otherwise just like a bit of scrap steel into a very unique, bespoke, decorative item for your house that is actually functional. It's cool, you know. It's hardly pushing the extents of my blacksmithing abilities, but it's fun, and that's what today's about, having a bit of fun. Having a lot of fun. And even more so because I get to do it with you guys. Into the main tank. Another one. Yay. These are fun. I think I'll stop at 5 and then maybe we'll try making a bottle opener. How's that sound? Where am I? Oh, there we go. Everything's so cramped in here. Can't wait till I have a bigger forge. I suppose the technical term is smithy. Can't wait till I have a bigger smithy. The snubbing and scroll would be a little tricky on something that ends in some point. So if you see just how fine horseshoe nails go. Like I could roll it up and forge weld it shut and everything, but in a coal forge, a charcoal forge, I'd probably burn the hell out of it. Might actually, speaking of charcoal, add some more. I do like this new anvil that I got from Alpha Wolf Forge. It's made of 2 railroad tracks that have been welded together, and it's got, the only improvement I would want in it is that there's a big hollow space in the middle that's actually enclosed, it's welded closed. That area I think should have been filled with something like sand to help deaden the sound a little bit, because it is a bit rough when you're working on large stock. I mean, it's mounted up quite nicely, but listen to the difference. This is a stump mounted, magnetized, chained, proper cast anvil. This is also magnetized, chained, and properly mounted. You know, it's a big difference. Which, you know, it's a railroad track anvil, it's never going to sound like a cast anvil, but at the same time, I think the sand interior would help that quite a bit. G'day, Bryant. So we're just having fun, really. Making some little hooks, wall hooks, out of horseshoe nails. Which you can sort of see here if the light's going to let me. There you go. Not for any specific purpose, it's been a long time since I've gotten to be in the forge due to unforeseen circumstances. So I'm just having fun. Just having some, just enjoying myself, you know? But then after this, we're going to make a blow for it. Yeah, that's it, Sam. I will be doing it at some point, and then give it an old shut again, to be honest. Because I like it being sealed in there, but adding that extra mass and weight will really make a difference. I think I will tell Lucas that aside from that, I think it's perfect. It's great. The nice round horn. It's nicely shaped. You guys can't see it from there. Let's have a look. Like having that nice round horn, and it's very nicely rounded and pointy. On my other anvil, it's a square horn, which I could grind out, but who wants to do that much work? And sometimes a square horn is beneficial, but it's beautiful shape. It's got a forklift tine on the top of it, so it's hard, really hard. But that noise when I'm gonna be working that all day, whew, it's gonna be rough. So I'll fix this one, but on future ones of his, I'm sure he will appreciate the pro tip. Because horseshoe nails are such thin stock, they cool down really fast. You got to be pretty on the spot while you're working them. Which is why one of the benefits of working them cold, like I was saying earlier, you don't need to heat them at all. I'm just having some fun. Nothing wrong with a bit of fun. Another one. So they'll do one more and that'll be the set. And we'll move on to the bottle opener. Hey, Farrier's anvils are good. That little two-pronged thing on the side that they use to bend the horseshoes is actually really handy for scroll work. And if you do jewelry things like hairpins and such, like I do, if you check out my Instagram and Facebook, you'll see a lot of my hairpin work. They're fantastic for that. I mean, you can do it on a horn, but horns are tapered, which when you're trying to do a precise scroll can be actually a bit of a pain. So you'll find a lot of blacksmiths build, it's called a blacksmith's tongue, I believe. It's a hardy tool that goes into your hardy hole and kind of goes up and bends back. It looks like a tongue, and you can put scrolls over it and keep scrolling it because it looks like this. And you can just form the work up and over it. They're a very useful tool to have. A lot of people just use a horn, or if you've got a Farrier's anvil, you can use those wheels on the side. Oh, okay. Maybe it's not a Farrier's anvil then, just an anvil that a farrier used. Because aren't all anvils Farrier's anvils if they're used by a farrier? Scroll work is, I would say, like, Sam, you're a bladesmith, so I can understand why you wouldn't really do much scroll work. But if you do blacksmithing, I know there's a lot of sort of techniques and things which cross across both bladesmithing and blacksmithing, but if you ever do blacksmithing, I would actually say that the first two things you should learn are tapering and scroll work, just because you can take the skills from those two things and extrapolate them into so many areas of the art form. And actually, I know I've been harping on about Roy a lot in Christ-Centered Ironworks, but his recent series of the various types of scroll ends, beautiful theory. Anyone who's beginning in blacksmith should be hanging on every word of those videos. Sorry about that freeze. I forgot to put my phone on charge. I forgot how much the live streaming actually saps the battery. You guys take up a lot of power. We all back now? Give me a hell yeah if you can hear it.
Can I get a hell yeah?
All right, cheers, Brian. I got a little too excited about being in my forge. To be honest, I am terrible at expressing emotion, as you would have picked up from, if you caught the last live stream where I opened up Sam's care package. I've just always been a stoic guy, but I am ecstatic about being in my forge. I am just having the time of my life. Cause I had the time of my life. No, I've never felt like this before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. Alright, see that? The lighting's terrible, I know. I'm sorry. But we do now have a little collection of, see if I can get this to adjust. A little collection of forged hooks. So, let's make us a bottle opener. I can punch and drill the holes of that for later. I don't like hot punching holes that small, because my Pritchell hole's about maybe 12 mil across. And you'll end up dipping the back of the steel. Better to just drill it. Alrighty. Load up on some fresh coal. And we're going to use some 10 mil square, we'll start with. Right tongs to the right job. While that's getting up to temperature, I'm just going to give you a shout out that I am now on Coffee. So hit me up at coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks to support the channel and buy me a coffee or two. Yeah, I could make a punch block. Oh, cheers for the link, Sam. The juxtaposition of my tone and words, yeah. It's weird. I'm a weird guy. My wife swears that there are ways to tell when I'm actually excited or sad or happy. I can't see it. So to start this out, we're going to be flattening it out, drawing it out with this 800 gram cross peen. Square stock at the moment. We want it to be thinner rectangular stock. At least on the end where the bottle opener is going to be. I don't know, Sam, it might just be you. Anybody else hear me okay? Blink twice. Oh, great. Don't know what's causing it, to be honest. It says there's still people here, and it says I'm still live. It could just be Australian internet. I'll keep heating this, and we'll see how it goes. Might come back. Is it back? Cool. I've been having all sorts of trouble with my internet lately. They put NBN in our area, but it's so temperamental that nobody wants to convert to it. And so I'm still on ADSL 2+, and they keep trying things to make us convert. And I'm convinced that they are fucking with our internet connectivity so that we will convert, but we just refuse to. Yeah, they say it's great, but everybody who's gotten it in this particular suburb has had no end of problems, disconnections, sometimes like up to 8 hours without internet. It's Cooperoo, where I live, is a very old suburb, and all of the infrastructure here is just not designed to handle it, I don't think. So I forgot to tell you guys the funny story about the Maori guy at the Wendy's. So I'm in line at a Wendy's, wanting to get my hot dog on, and there was this young Chinese girl working there, and her English wasn't great. She was trying, she was really putting in an effort, but she was really having a hard time understanding people. But then this Maori guy came up. He had facial tattoos and everything. He was a cool guy. And he came up and he said to her, "Can I have a chocolate thick shake?" And this Chinese girl was like, What you say?" And the Maori guy is like, "Chocolate thick shake, love. You just want chocolate thick shake." And she, what do you say? And he's getting really frustrated, and he finally says to her, "Rid my lips, chocolate thick shake." And I'm trying not to laugh, and I ended up leaning past him and said to the girl, he wants a chocolate thick shake, love." "Oh, chocolate thick shake." And this guy turns around and he claps me on the shoulders. "Oh, thanks, bro." And I couldn't not laugh. It was so funny. Yeah, the accent is in no way similar. I don't know where people get that from, but I've heard that too. Now, in case you're wondering, this is just cheap old mild steel, so it doesn't matter. You can heat it, you can cool it, you can quench it, you can bop it, you can turn it, you can twist it. It's fine. So what I'm going to do is I've tapered this out now at the end, and I'm just going to run over to the hacksaw and cut a slot down in there. I'll be right back. Watch the forge for me. Ooh, I need to buy some new hacksaw blades. Hey Kenneth, we're making a forged steel bottle opener. So, all that to do that. It's pretty blunt. I need to get a new one. I am cheap when it comes to getting new things all the time. So, but tell you what, if you want to help me buy a new hacksaw blade, buy me a coffee at coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. So basically we've split that. We're going to pair it off either side, and no, we didn't hear filing, you just heard blunt hacksaw blade. Yeah, Sam knows that sound, I'm sure. So yeah, we're going to get that in the fire. Convenience bend one of those out of the way, draw them out, and we'll make our little prongs for the front of it. But I'm just going to have a drink because that was a lot of work. Thanks, Sam. Whew. Nothing beats having a big old swig of a cold drink while you're working on a hot day, and it is warm. This probably won't be a long stream. At this point though, any forging is good. And we got a set of hooks done. That's an Etsy product. Probably throw 20 bucks on that. That'll get me a new hacksaw blade. Now at this point, when we do that convenience bend, we're essentially going to be working with 4, maybe 5 mil stock, which means smaller hammer. It's hardwood lump charcoal, yeah, that's it. Coke is surprisingly difficult to get in Brisbane. It's not impossible, you can get it. But for the sheer convenience of having access to fuel on a quick and easy and reliable fashion, since my ability to forge is kind of haphazard, it's hardwood lump charcoal, you can't beat it. Have a look at how that's doing. This forge that I built is more designed for jewelry work, so it's fantastic at heating mild steel, but as soon as you try and put carbon steel through it, you really got to work. So I'm going to be making a side draft knife forge, Japanese style knife forge with a ribbon blower. You know, I'm going to make that eventually. Not right now, but soon you'll see it. I may even live stream the build. Who knows? Anything could happen. It's a madhouse in here. 100 kilos of tomatoes. That is a lot of bolognese sauce. Now what we've done here is called a convenience bend. Now I'm only going to be working on one of these tines at a time, drawing it out nice and thin. So you don't want the other one in the way while you're working. So you heat it up, bend it out of the way. It's just for convenience. Hence the name. I know I told you guys my next live stream was going to be leatherworking, and that one will still happen. But it would be weird to have a channel called Valhalla Ironworks and claim to be a blacksmith without actually having any live streams up of me blacksmithing. today was just going to be me having a bit of fun. But I thought, why not have the camera on? Why not let you guys share in the fun? Yeah, smush that like button. Be nice to actually just get like anthracite or bituminous coal. Even that I'd be happy with, but realistically, for somebody that's working on a budget, hardwood lump charcoal, it works fine. You go through more of it, but it's so cheap. I could get a pallet-sized cube of it delivered to my door for 140 bucks. You know, like those IBC containers? One of those. And don't forget your Osher, guys. Oh yeah, that's right. It's amazing the length you can get out of drawing something out, going from that to that. The glasses may look nerdy, but I was always using those, you know, just normal safety glasses. And because I use a coal forge and it's windy, the wind would always go around the glasses and into my eyes. And the only ones I could find are these ones made in Germany, which are actually fully safety approved, but they completely seal. They got air vents on them, but they're quite small and they're rear facing. And it really keeps stuff out of my eyes. It may make me look like a mad scientist, but this is like hardened tempered glass and actually stainless steel fittings. Get us some more fuel. You can always spot a solid fuel forge guy because of the black on his pants. Yeah, that's right. I actually had a post on Imager with me and my goggles and my hearing protection and my respirator. And it's like on a scale of 0 Mad Max villain, how Osher are you? Now it's time to convenience bend the long one out of the way and work on this little one. There's only two real downsides to using hardwood lump charcoal as a forge fuel, I find. The first one is it takes forever to go out. You're talking like a 5-hour, realistically, forge cooldown. The second one is it is smoky sometimes. It is like a lot of soot that comes off. You end up stinking of sulfur. So you really need a good draft wood, which I don't have a draft wood set up here, but I do forge next to the open door, as you can see, and most of it gets sucked out. But boy, you get a lot of pollutants off of it. One thing to remember if you're using a fire pot style forge like I am, and you do a convenience bend, you've got two prongs and you convenience bend something out of the way. When you put it in the forge, don't put the bend out of the way one down. Down in that fire pot, it will melt the tip off it. You want to put it up if you're trying to heat this one. Boy, I'm out of practice. Half my work is just fixing bloody mishits. Here's one for you. Has anybody in the audience used whole corn as a solid forge fuel before? Whole corn. More common than you'd think. If you drop some butter in there, you might get a nice smelling forge. But it does actually, it makes your whole smithy smell like popcorn. But apparently it works really, really well. The only downside to it, or two downsides, is one, it apparently smokes like crazy, so you've got to have a really good draft wood, possibly a powered one, unless you live in a windy area. Or The other problem is that it actually forms a natural clinker that you would only get from something like coke. But it's surprisingly common, especially around the Appalachia area where they've got limited access to things. And apparently it works great, holds heat well. It's better with something like hand blown rather than giving it too much oxygen. But when you dry out the whole corn, it works a treat. Good in a pinch. Good to know. Ooh. While that's heating up, we'll just take a moment to thank everyone for popping by. As a newbie to live streaming, it's been really awesome seeing people come in. I know you're all coming over from Sam's channel, but I do appreciate it. It really makes my day to get to chat with you all while I work. Now, for those new or unfamiliar to blacksmithing, the technique I was just doing of small, light hammer blows with a hammer of a decent weight is called planishing, and it creates a beautiful smooth surface. Oh, excuse me. Beautiful smooth surface which maintains that, or helps maintain that forged look in the final process. Normally, I actually have this little jeweler's hammer, and I'll use that for planishing. You want something like a ball peen hammer is fantastic for it, not necessarily the ball end, but the front ends of them tend to be a lot more nicely rounded and smooth on the corners compared to something like your cross peen hammers, although it's possible and a lot of people do it. I just prefer the round faced hammers for my planishing. And it's just lots of little tippy tap tap, but allowing the full weight of the hammer to go over it. If I thought that the camera could actually pick up on the detail here, I would show you. But if you look up planishing, you'll know. You'll notice what it looks like. Playing the risky game of farting near a coal forge. If you see it sort of flare up suddenly, you'll know what's happened. Using whole wood for a forge, like you said, Sam, there's a really good video of someone doing that on Wrangler Star's channel, Wrangler Star, the king of the hipsters. I admittedly, I do watch his channel, but just tightening up a loose rivet. He has a video on using just straight hardwood. Actually, no, I think it's just pine, like Douglas fir, with a hand blower to do forging, and it works quite well. I don't think you get a welding heat with it, but I could be wrong. Alright, we're going to bring back our convenience bend. Now we've got our little fork here, which is going to become the bottle opener. Now I did some good plenishing work on this side, but this side still needs some. So, what are you saying, Sam? Sorry, missed it. Here we go. Yeah, that would be true, because I suppose it would just create charcoal, and then you can, like, lump charcoal will give you a welding heat, no problems. It'll do it whether you want to or not sometimes. But yeah, so this is kind of, you're going to be able to start to see start a forge by hammering steel. Are you talking about the phenomenon that when you hit steel it gets hotter? If that is the case, then I've never tried that. It would be cool though. I've used paper bark to do it. So I'm just going to planish this to the side, and then we'll be able to start doing some shaping. It'd make a good trick at like live blacksmithing demonstrations, I'll tell you that. You want to see some cool kids? Into the main tank. Woo. Too hot still. That's always fun to watch. I always like those moments on Forged in Fire when that happens. Yeah, Sam should try it on a live stream. It is tricky. It's got to be tricky. Otherwise, it won't be worth doing. So we're going to do some file work now, just to neaten up that V. Now the theory here of why I am taking the time to file out and smooth the inside of the V is because when we did that cut down there, the very point of that cut creates basically a stress riser. So we want that to be gone. I want to eat right into it and round it out. It's the same theory that if you have a crack in a piece of wood, if you drill a hole right at the very tip of the crack won't continue. Same thing happens with steel. And not that a bottle opener is going to be under a huge amount of stress, but it's just good practice. And there we go, nice and clean, nice and smooth in there. Oh. at least 1/4 inch stock for my a lot of my jewelry actually. Got some here. Alrighty. So let me get my test model. Now we're making a bottle opener, but I don't drink alcohol at all. So I have my biggest weakness. Oh yeah. I have a mild Dr. Pepper addiction. So basically we're going to be making one that I actually do mostly jewelry, Bryant. If you look on my Instagram, you'll see it. I've been doing a lot of knives recently, so you'll have to scroll back a ways, but I mostly do jewelry. If you watch Sam's videos, you will see him wearing a bracelet, and that was actually made by me and sent over to him. So yeah, my Dr. Pepper bottle here is going to be my model, and this is basically going to open these up and create a loop with little scrolls at the end, and then hook it, flick it. So you may not use Instagram, but you can still visit my Instagram page and look. Yeah. Somehow getting hairs in my mouth. And then when I try and get it out, I get a mouthful of coal dust. I should be used to it by now. So if you just go to instagram.com/Valhalla Ironworks, you'll see a lot of the jewelry I make. I'm also on Etsy. So if you go to etsy.com/shop, etsy.com/au/shop/Valhalla Ironworks. I think it's AU at the end of it. The link will be in the video descriptions of past live streams. Also, it will be in this one eventually. Once it's finished, I can change the description. Yeah, I make jewelry out of bronze, brass, copper, stainless steel, mild steel, all sorts of things. So it's my main thing, which is why my anvil is so small. But every so often I make stuff like bottle openers and steak turners and you know, things like that, knives. I'm definitely not a bladesmith, especially not in the realm of skill level that someone like Sam Towns is in, not even close. But I enjoy what I do, and that's what matters. So yeah, let's carry on with this. We've got to get it hot because I did a full cool on it to do that filing. So we've got to get it back up to temp. Hey, Sam's quick with the links. Soak up a little bit of heat. I haven't done any wrought iron yet, simply because I haven't had access to any. However, another fantastic Australian smith called Josh Gaunt, who runs GT Edgeworks, very worth checking him out on Facebook, sent me this giant chunk of wrought iron wagon wheel. There is a lot of steel there. Looking forward to doing some sand-mired blades with it. Oh, you don't need to send me any, Sam. That lump that Josh gave me is going to last me a long time, I think. One thing that I'm very keen to try is making my own Damascus. Or even just like buying one of those ingots of pre-made Damascus and working with that to try and make something. Always wanted to try working with Damascus. It's cool. It's very cool. When you work a solid fuel forge, it makes making Damascus a little trickier. But I am working on a gas forge, so that'll help. So, plan is, we split this off. I'm going to draw these two out to points, give them a little scroll, and then we'll bend them around to make the scrolls meet in the middle, and we will flat punch the center to create the bottle opener. It's one of those hindsight is 20/20 things where I'll probably realize that forming the head of the bottle opener before doing the detail on the handle is going to make it a nightmare to hold. But, you know, we'll see where it goes. Yeah, Josh told me the same thing about working with wrought iron. Oh, Mokumagame Nope. Yeah, I'd love to try that. So if I started with, I usually make it for jewelry. It's just plain cast, no faceplate. It's got two railroad tracks sitting side by side, one of which has been turned into a horn, which you can see there. Nice round horn. And on the top of it is forklift tine. Very, very hard. Currently needs to be modified a little bit. He's still new to making anvils, and one of the sound of a cast anvil, and then you listen to the sound of this, that void needs to be filled with something dense like sand, or preferably sand impregnated with something viscous like motor oil, and then sealed back up. So I'm going to do that before I really get into heavily using it, but having the round horn is actually proving to be quite useful. I'm not sure if it's Chinese, Sam. It's actually got like a kangaroo emblem on the side, but that could just have been put on there afterwards. So, very happy with the size and piece of the thing at some point, just to level it out. But my cast anvil has a square horn. And yes, you can grind it down, but it's a lot of work, and I've never been bothered to do it. But I've been working with a square horn for so long, to get a rounded horn that goes to a nice fine point has been an absolute godsend. Yeah, I don't know why the stream is skippy lately, guys. I'm sorry. I think it's just Australian internet. Or specifically my internet. If it does drop out, I'm still going to be here. So just come back and I'll still be here. And while that anvil's, the forge is getting back up to temperature, now might be a great time for you to go to ko-fi.com/Valhalla Ironworks and buy me a coffee. No, it's the terrible internet in Brisbane. It's really bad. It's actually not just me. It's this Brisbane-wide problem. It's really bad. You can see this end's a little chunky. This end's getting to a point. Also gives it a little bit extra length, which is good because we're going to be scrolling it up. Hey, Yamez is here. Hi, Yamez. Thanks for popping by. Geez, Yamez, what time is it there? Man, I don't know whether or not this is going to show up on the camera, but my wife just sent me a photo of the business lunch that they're having. Look at the desserts. Oh my god, chocolate mousse, strawberries and cream. Far out. $10 p.m. Well, I appreciate you spending your night with me in my humble little forge. Yeah, we were making a bunch of these little horseshoe hooks, horseshoe nails. Just for fun. It's been a while since I've actually managed to get into the forge here because it's been like over 120 degrees here. So working a coal forge, it's like a health hazard at that point. So I'm just having fun, really. Made some hooks, making a bottle opener, and these guys are following along for the ride. It'll work. I need to do some fire maintenance. That is a lot better. That is a lot healthier. My tweer is handmade and terrible, so I have to come in and... Gun Bay! I like it. Looking pretty good. We didn't start the fire. It was all the world can turn. Gun bait. So we're going, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but we're going for quite a dainty little scroll on the end there. Just a little one. And then we'll match it on the other side now. Hey Yamez, like my girl Dolly says, you can't have a rainbow without a little rain. That's what you get on this channel, dad jokes, bad singing, and Dolly Parton references. And then there were two little scrolls. It's like a little guy going, whoa. Sam's got it. Some of the best times of my life have come because of bad things. And some of the biggest moments of personal strength that I didn't know that I was capable of came from enduring hardship. That at the time I thought I didn't deserve, but later I realized that it taught me how to be stronger. I sound like a Cosmo magazine. It's like that though, Yamez. You get reborn by some things. So now you might start to see what we're doing. The other ones they're going to bend over as well. And then on the anvil horn, we're going to curl that over. Now you may have seen me dip the end of this into the mank tank. What I'm doing is I just spent work doing those little scrolls on the end. So when I'm hammering on them, I don't want them to deform. So I'll heat up the entire limb, then dip just the tip where the scroll is in the water to cool it, but leave the rest of it hot. And then I bend the way I want. I hammer on it like crazy and the cool part won't deform. You're not wrong there, Yamez. This community's great, and I've been a part of some really terrible communities in my day. There are a few Nigel no funs, but I just avoid them. Now it's starting to look a bit more like your classic bottle opener. You might start seeing what I'm getting at now, picking up what I'm putting down. So let's have a look at it next to our sexy model there. Needs to be a bit wider, and that's why we have the model there. It's actually good from a design perspective that the points look like they're not going to be touching in the final design. You're used to seeing those ones with the ring on the end that you put over the bottle cap. I don't want a full ring. I actually wanted two arms that the scrolls don't touch. They just meet like this and sit on top of the bottle cap when you pop it open. And so the fact that it needs to be wider means that they won't be touching, which is awesome. Now, if you're a beginner blacksmith, this is a really good design of bottle opener because you don't have to punch and drift a hole through the stock to be able to achieve it or do any sort of forge welds. You can just split it off, do convenience bending, taper out the points, bend it around, and as you see fit. If you want an even cleaner design that you can really batch out and it's really good for productivity if you're wanting to make products to sell. Check out Sam Town's Etsy page, which is etsy.com/au/shop/Sam Town Bladesmith. And check out the bottle openers that he sells. Actually, I've got one, I'll show you. This is what Sam's ones look like. So similar sort of size stock. You can draw it out to a point on either end, or a flat taper on either end, and bend it around. And they fit really neatly over the bottle. Oop, there. Over the bottle, and then you can crack the bottle that way. Very neat and easy, and you can put little things on the end to pop them on your key ring and that, and it's a really good way to do it. Alright, let's open this sucker up. Let's do a fit test. Still not wide enough, but we're very close. We're about 5 mil off, or about a 1/4 inch for you Americans. And while we're speaking of beverages, anyone that's watching, don't forget to buy me a coffee at coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. It really helps support my work and encourages me, and it says, I like what you're doing, have a coffee. Yeah, I really need to Yum as because of you know, interacting with him on Sam's live streams. I'm new to his channel, still going back through the back catalogue. Looking forward to seeing what I see there. By the way, if you want a little bit of nostalgia, I'm going to be putting this bottle opener on Etsy when I'm done with it. So be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, or Instagram if you're not into Instagram, for a link to where to purchase it, because then you've got the video actually seeing it, which is cool. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. That's it. That is the fit. So now we need to hit right in the middle here where my pinky is. And we're going to use a nice round flat punch to put a little flat spot in there that is going to act as our essentially our bottle opener. What I'm just going to do is sort of flatten this area out a little bit, even it up so that it's ready for the punch. That way I should be able to just lay it on the anvil like that and give it a punch. The trick is getting it to sit in a way that is conducive to a good solid punch. I reckon that's going to do it. And as Roy says, cold steel don't move. I've seen those scorpion bottle openers. I suppose, yeah, this is kind of similar design. Okay. Put that there. Get that there. This is where something like a holdfast would be super handy. I should make one. Maybe I should do one of those on a stream. Not that this new anvil has a Pritchell hole on it, but my other one does. Having an assistant also helps. But it's starting to move. What I'll do, when you have a when you have an issue like this, it's really good place to actually start it off with the ball end of ball peen hammer, because that allows you to have a really good hold on it here. Treadle hammers are also good in this instance. One of my favorite solutions, though, you can see on Roy's channel at Christ-Centered Ironworks, he came up with basically a third hand. So it's a thing that you put your punch into, and it puts it on a swinging lever. So you can have tongs holding the piece, push it underneath it, and then you get your hammer hitting it in place. Fantastic idea. You can imagine it kind of works similar to this fullering tool, where it's got that hinge. This is a fullering tool, but basically you'd have a plate here and something to bolt in a punch or something there, so it just sits. Great idea. That's getting it. That's a good idea. That is a solid idea. Well, similar to that chain idea, Sam, I saw somebody that did like a stirrup of steel that goes over here, and it had a spring underneath it that held it down to the base of their anvil stand, so they could lift up the stirrup and use that as like a lightweight holdfast. But the reason I don't have so many of these, what would otherwise be common tools in blacksmithing, is because even though I've been blacksmithing now for about 5 years, I've been doing like 99% jewelry. It's only been recently that I've been advancing into things like knives and larger items like fireplace pokers and bottle openers and things like that, simply because I've just done jewelry work. And jewelry work, it's a very different set of tools and swages and things to what you would do with bigger stuff. So I'm slowly going through and going, hey, I need that, and then I make it and then have it, and I keep going along and say, hey, I need that. But I also couple that with the fact that I'm terrible at making things for myself. I have a tendency to just make things to sell or give away to people. going to be hard to kind of see that. See how it's flattening out quite a bit because of the ball peen, and rather than having a divot in the center, normally you'd have like a little sticking out part that would catch the lip of the bottle. When you dish the entire thing, you can still hook it under there and pop it off. It's a sort of like a stealth bottle popper. So this is almost ready to call good. You guys may get to see my neighbor. He's just pulled up. Here we go. Let's see if this will actually show up. That's our shape. Pops on like that, pops the lid off. So we'll do a little bit of finish work on the handle, give it a nice little sexy curve. Yeah, doing an actual bloom forge would be so awesome to witness. I think Sam's going to be doing one sometime soon. Definitely check out that when that shows up on his channel. Skull. So you can kind of see, put a bit of a scoop in this, because I'm going to be bending the tail back down this way and sort of fishtailing it just a little bit. You got to keep the facial hair. That's the brand, youngins. Blacksmith. Blacksmith.
Right. My grandfather used to have one on his farm.
That's where I learned.
A really big one.
Yeah. It's
wow.
keeping the outcall alive.
That's incredible.
Not good to do in Brisbane, is it?
Yeah. That's hilarious. Like, he grew up on a farm. Yeah. My grandparents said they had a farm.
Mm-hmm.
But the other day, I was at the Garden City because my car's getting fixed at the garage up there.
Right.
And yeah, I met up with these two kids and I'm like, do you guys know how to get to the bus stop from here? And they're like, oh yeah, like we'll find whatever the reject shop was. And we were laughing about that, like why call it reject shop, like why not call it, you know, the accepted shop?
Yeah, that's
which
right.
was fun. But anyway, so they literally took me all the way down to where the buses were. But they've just moved over from Perth. They're young kids, like
right.
Seriously, they're young kids. And they were saying that they worked with sheep and wool and all that kind of stuff from where they've come from. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I just want to go back on the farm.
I know. It's you can take the person out of the country.
That's what my dad used to say.
You can't take the country out of the person.
He always said to me, because I moved to Newcastle at one stage.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. I'm like, it's so true.
I was born and raised on a farm in the mountains of Tassie.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, it's
wow.
where I picked all this up.
Yeah, wow. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I've been thinking about, there's a bit of an opportunity for me to maybe go out, like out west, like to some farms out there, like they just help farmers and stuff like that. There's some different organisations and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen the woofers do that, you know, woof.
no.
Like people just sort of willing workers on organic farms. That's what it stands for.
Unorganic.
Yeah,
oh,
so
wow.
basically they give you room and board in exchange for basically
Are
helping
you
the farm.
serious?
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, if you look up wolf, but just the word wolf with two W's.
Okay.
And there's a whole community of it. You can sign up, get started, and they give you a shelter and food. And
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, because my son's just moved down to Melbourne a couple of months ago, and I've been here, like, where I'm at in Cooperoo for 10 years. I've just been feeling like it's time to move on.
If you're from the country, there's only so long to be in the city before you go mental.
I know. It's just like, oh. Hey, that's amazing. So what do you actually make?
Bottle opener.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do artistic stuff.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, sell at the market.
Yeah, I'm an artist as well. I do stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just different kinds of stuff.
Yeah, more people need to do it. You better release that creative
Did
muscle.
you make this?
I did, yeah.
I thought you might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, very clever. That's beautiful, sweetheart. I'll
Yeah.
let you get going.
No, thanks very
That's
much.
Amazing.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Definitely attracts attention doing this in your driveway. You guys are hilarious. She was about 60, guys. Come on. I know you might be into that, Yelmez. Alright, we'll put the finishing bend on this and then finish her up, what's it? Not going to make the same mistake as last time. As for those who weren't here earlier, I pulled it out of the mank tank too early and burnt my hand off. Yeah, step one, get a box. Alright. Here we go, look at that. Nice little fish tail on the end of it there. The old test. Works a treat. So now I'm just going to file it up and then I'll throw it back in the forge, get that scale up nice and hot, give it a warm rub down with some oil, give it that linseed oil finish, the burnt in linseed oil finish, and then it'll be up for sale on Etsy. And one of you guys might actually buy it and then be able to, every time you use it, show people this video and say, hey, I saw it getting made. Hey, Butchie, what you doing? I got to be super careful because I don't know if you watched on previous streams. I got a family of butcher birds that I look after. I've been raising them from babies, and they live around here. And I've got to always stop them coming into my workshop because it's dangerous in here. They'll hurt their little feet. Night, Yames. Sorry, this part's a little bit boring, guys. Won't be long. Hearts and health. I need a tagline like Yamez has. Need something, you know, like Walter Cronkite. And that's the way it was. I'll be like, you know, spay and neuter your pets. Always wear a condom. Something like that. Or maybe, here's an idea for a cool tagline to end my streams with. Support me by buying a coffee on coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. It's only a small donation, but it helps. It's catchy, I like that one. Gun bait. And I know my file theory. I know that they're only cutting when I push. But sometimes it's easier to just stay on alignment if I... Sam's quick with that link. It's easier to stay on alignment if you just do a little bit of back and forth. And then when you're hand forging something, you should always do the blind test. Just close your eyes, just hold it in your hands, run your fingers over it. You'll find the sharp points. Just here, and that's good. That did it. All right. Now I get to make my entire workshop smell like boiled linseed oil. Yeah, watch me learn to make a mess. Boiled linseed oil, the handiest and smelliest thing. Thanks for popping by, Kenneth. Always a pleasure to have you here. Guaranteed. Kenneth may be going to bed, but I'm going to be staying up. And to help me stay up, you could get me a coffee at coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. Just testing you, Sam, seeing if you're still awake. Now, for a good application of boiled linseed oil, you don't want the steel to quite reach red heat. You want it to still be black. What I like to do is take sort of a fistful of cloth, wrap that fistful in a little bunch, and that makes a nice little pom-pom, and use that to apply it. And if you've got the temperature right, you'll see it smoke. Oh, that smells so bad. Give this a flip. And I like to finish with a little dunk. A little dunkaroogie. And I'll wipe it off. Get some boiling oil burns on your hand. Safety first. And there you have it. A traditional blacksmith forge finished bottle opener. Looks a little bit like that insect thing that they put in the captain's, Starship Enterprise captain's mouth to make him talk, make him compliant in the new Star Trek film. Oh yeah. I know you can't see it very well because the lighting in my studio is terrible. Once this baby's dried off, I'll get some glamour shots and put it on Etsy, so keep an eye out for the link if you want it. And to be honest, guys, I'm pooped. I'm a bit out of practice with forging, so I'm pretty exhausted. I might actually call that good and have a nice cold shower and a cold drink. Thank you very much for popping by. Means a lot, always means a lot to have you guys swing by the channel. And if you like the like either the bottle opener or the hook set, they're going to be on Etsy soon, so keep an eye out for them. And if you don't want to support me that way, perhaps support me by buying me a coffee at coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks, because you know I love to pimp that. So I will catch you all on the next live stream, and the next one will be the leatherworking one, because I really do need to get on top of that. today was just me taking advantage of the first bit of decent weather for a long time. So yeah, also got to deal with this oil burn on my thumb. If you don't like getting burned, you shouldn't do blacksmithing. So I just see it as a mark of honor. At least that's what I tell myself, so I don't feel like an idiot. Anyway, I'll get this coal forge cooling down, and I'll see you guys on the next stream. Sam's going to be doing one tomorrow, I think, so definitely check in on Sam's channel for that, because I will be there. But yeah, otherwise I'll catch you all on the next one with the leatherworking. See you later, guys. Hope you have a great day, and spay and neuter your pets.